My name is Harsh Tawari, and this is my econ final. This is Barry. He lives a wonderful life in Boise, Idaho. Barry is known in his friend group for being very imaginative, creative, and a bit greedy sometimes. Barry is also considering going to college. Barry has had a long day, but he can't stop thinking about his life after high school. He decides that it's time to go to bed, but his mind is filled with possibilities for the future. Barry opens his eyes to see himself on the steps of a beautiful college campus. He ponders about what it would be like to learn here. As he does so, he hears a booming voice coming from the sky. The voice tells him that at one point he must make a decision as to whether or not he wants to go to college. The voice explains that he will show Barry the rest of his life if he does go to college, and how everything will affect him. Barry opens his eyes and sees himself in a bedroom that appears to be his own. In the corner of the room, he sees a college diploma with his name on it. The voice tells him that if he decided to get a degree, many great things would happen. The first thing the voice explains is the idea of job stability. The voice tells Barry that because of his decision to go to college, he will have a greater degree of job stability. The voice explains that job stability is the likelihood that an employee has gainful employment for their work life. The voice then explains that if he goes to college, he will have a greater amount of lifetime earnings, which he explains is the amount of money a person would earn during his or her working career. Barry is astounded as to all the good that education can bring him. He shouts out to the voice, "This sounds great! Where can I sign up?" In response, the voice chuckles. The voice tells Barry to go to his computer. Then the voice tells Barry to look at his bank details, and Barry sees an enormous amount of debt. Confused, Barry questions if the voice has lied to him about what degrees can do. The voice responds with explaining what a loan is, and why it was necessary for him to take one out. The voice tells Barry that college is incredibly expensive, and they will have to take a loan out in order to fully pay for it. Understanding why the voice chuckled, Barry stood there with a sad look on his face, although he remembered that he was interested in business management, and he asked the voice for their advice on whether or not college would be worth it. This is when the voice explained the idea of return on investment, or RROI. The voice explained that return on investment is a measure of the gain or loss generated by an investment as compared with the amount of money invested. The voice explained that the money Barry invested in his business management degree would likely come back as a net greater amount of money due to business management's strong ROI. Now presented with the pros and cons of college, Barry must make a decision. The voice explains that what he was going through right now is called an opportunity cost, or the benefits a person or organization can have received by making an alternative decision. Barry knows his choices and he knows what he will get with both. Finally, Barry decides that he wants to go to college. As soon as he makes his decision, Barry woke up in his bed. He knew what he wanted to do. Several years later, Barry is walking out of a building with a huge smile on his face. 2 weeks ago, Barry had come here for an interview and he felt like he had done a great job. And now he was walking out of this building once again because he had just got that job. Barry was so happy to finally have his own money to spend, he felt like he could buy everything and anything he wanted. In order to celebrate his new job, Barry decided that he wanted to bake some delicious cookies he could enjoy to his heart's content. He gets all the necessary ingredients in order to make his delicious treat, and he decides he wants his cookies to be the best, so he decided to get real vanilla pods. But when he saw the price for a single vanilla bean, he almost fainted. For a single vanilla bean, the price was $21, meaning Barry would have to spend a fortune on vanilla alone. Confused, Barry asks a nearby man for some sort of answer as to why the vanilla would be so expensive. The man explained that vanilla is a very hard plant to grow, and in some cases, it isn't even profitable. This means that the amount of vanilla available in the market, or the supply of the vanilla, was very low. But because so many people want it, or the demand for vanilla is very high, they're forced to increase prices. Which affects the consumer because they won't be able to buy it as much as the prices are high. The man explains that this is one of the basic laws of supply and demand. If the supply decreases while the demand stays the same, the prices will increase. Barry asks the man why it has to be this way. He just wants to make cookies and he doesn't understand why that has to affect him. In response, the man says that it's because of the simple economic rule of scarcity. The idea that there are a limited amount of resources for an unlimited amount of wants and needs. Although Barry may want all the vanilla in the world, there are always going to be a limited amount of resources. Barry looked at the man in awe, but ultimately he felt defeated because he could not afford the vanilla. That night, Barry made his cookies without the vanilla, as he could not afford it. He was sad, although he could not be mad. It was just simple economics.